Welcome to Zack Attack Reviews. Thank you for joining me as I break down the good and the bad of DC's new movie, Black Adam. This has been Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's passion project for 15 years. He's been trying to play this character for 15 years. He's been trying to get this character off the ground for so long. They offered him so many different roles for different superheroes, and for some reason he just was attached to this character. Did all that passion and hard work pay off? Before I get into it, let me talk about the premise. In ancient Kahndaq, Teth Adam, played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, is bestowed the almighty powers of the gods. After using these powers for vengeance, he was imprisoned, becoming Black Adam. Nearly 5,000 years have passed, and Black Adam has gone from man to myth to legend. Now free, his unique form of justice, born out of rage, is challenged by the modern day heroes who form the Justice Society: Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Atom Smasher, and Cyclone. Black Adam is rated PG-13 for sequences of strong violence, intense actions, and some language. You start off with the good. First of all, I gotta say is that Black Adam the movie is visually stunning, and it feels like it has a lot of texture and cinematography that looks great. In the last couple of years, a lot of blockbuster movies, especially superhero movies, had kind of like this sitcom feel where everything was kind of grayish, bluish, kind of dry, and didn't have any real cinematography or work done on it in a lot of points, especially when people are just talking. Here, it feels like a lot of work was put to make this movie look really great. And that goes down to the VFX as well. The way they realize these character powers is like leapt off right off the comic pages and look fantastic. A lot of superhero movies and a lot of big blockbuster movies in general, the VFX can look really bad in parts, and it's just like, how did they get away with putting this on the screen sometimes? But there's none of that here. Everything looks fantastic at all times. You may see screen grabs on Twitter or Instagram and Facebook where Black Adam flying, and they take it at a specific time where he's doing hyperspeed, where it's trying to make it look bad, but when you watch the movie and watch it in motion, it looks fantastic. The action sequences here are the highlight and why you come to watch this movie. This is Fast and Furious in a superhero mode. It's brutal, it's violent, it treads the line of PG-13 and R rating really, really well. There are certain instances where I was like, whoa, how the hell did they get away with this? But it was really exciting and kept the movie really fun. It never felt like it was overdone because the way the plot was constructed, it made sense that they were going to be fighting for most of it and it was going to be wall-to-wall action. And that's how the movie was advertised. Every trailer was Black Adam fighting someone, whether it was people in helicopters or people in futuristic speed bikes or the Justice Society themselves. All that was done really well, really exciting, and also never too repetitive. It never felt too repetitive because these heroes had very diverse, different powers that were all visually stunning. Questions came when Black Adam was announced, and it was announced that The Rock was going to play it, and it finally was coming, and the trailers are happening. Is he going to be able to play a different character than he usually does? And I gotta say, for the most part, even though there's a lot of Rock-isms there, he does play a little bit of a different character than he usually does. He's not overly jokey. He's not like trying to be a player. He's not this super charismatic character. He's stoic, he's full of trauma, he's burdened with centuries old trauma that he's dealt with for such a long time, and he's playing this character as a fish out of water. He's in a land that he does not recognize anymore, that used to be his home, and he's learning all these new things and trying to figure out what his place is in the world and how he's supposed to help this family that had found him when he was in dire need. And those moments created for some compelling emotional moments for the character, but also some funny moments because he doesn't really tell jokes, but because he's a fish out of water, quite like how Wonder Woman was in the first movie, or Captain America in Captain America Winter Soldier, where they don't know a lot of things that's going on because they've been gone for so long. They use those things here really well, and they have different running gags that made me laugh multiple times in the movie. Black Adam battles many different groups, organizations, and types of people in this movie, but most of the movie is him facing off against the JSA, the Justice Society. America in the comics, I think they just called them the Justice Society here, and in this movie, they are tasked with dealing with international affairs, which I really like because it made them different from the Justice League. It makes sense why they would both coexist in the same universe, because usually the JSA is in an alternate timeline and all this very comic booky stuff, but they made it simple global, where like the Justice League deals with American problems and the JSA deals with international affairs. And since Black Adam is in Kahndaq, which is set in the Middle East, and he's causing havoc, killing people, and Amanda Waller thinks he's a danger, she orders them to take him down and bring him in. JSA, or Justice Society, one of the major highlights is Pierce Bronson, who plays Kent Nelson, aka Dr. Fate. This man was born to play this role. He captures the wisdom of the character really well. The character's not trauma, but what he's dealing with by being Dr. Fate, because Dr. Fate is possessed by a wizard named Nobu, and he sees the future but in fragments, and they played with that and created some interesting twists within the story. And he just played with that character's wisdom really well, and willingness not to fight and try to figure other ways around it to solve problems without just brutally destroying everyone. I really liked him as his character, and I want to see more of Dr. Fate moving forward with the way they did this. A solo movie, a TV show, whatever they got to do, let's get more Dr. Fate. And another standout from this group is Aldis Hodge, who I've been a huge fan of for years. He's been working for a long time in Hollywood, and he's been a fantastic actor for a long time, but he plays Hawkman, and he does a great job as a hard-headed do-gooder who thinks only his morals are right, and he comes to blows with Black Adam, who's more of someone that's on the morally gray line. He thinks if he's doing right or if someone's in his way, it's okay to kill him, and Hawkman is like, no, we must not kill. We are heroes. We do not kill. And Black Adam's like, I do what I want. I'm a hero to some and I'm a villain to others. And that morally complex back and forth with them was entertaining, and I really like that they took that approach to have them to directly battle each other, because in the comics, Hawkman and Black Adam are like centuries long adversaries, because they continue to be reborn again and again to face each other. So I thought that even though they didn't touch on that specific comic thing, I think that may be something that can be brought up later, because of that tension that was automatically built. As soon as they locked eyes, they went to blows, and the action sequences between them were thrilling. And I think Aldis Hodge did a great job of bringing the moral and the energy that Chris Evans brought to Steve Rogers' Captain America to Hawkman, and it made me really want to see him not only get his own solo project to maybe introduce Hawkgirl and other characters, but to have a JSA movie that he leads, to see him as the main character. This is the most interested I've ever been in Hawkman. I feel like the comics hasn't really known what to do with him, and I feel like the writers here understood, or at least Aldis Hodge, I'm not too sure who's responsible for the way he was depicted, did a really great job of making him a character that I want to see more of. Their themes of the use of power, freedom, and anti-imperialism throughout the movie that colors the story for the human characters in this that are stuck between this advanced oppressive society, the intergang that's oppressing them, and these godlike creatures like the JSA and Black Adam fighting and destroying the Kahndaq where they live, them looking up to Black Adam because he's the hero of myth. And it made some of the human aspects really interesting in what they were fighting for, and some of the human characters are actually pretty funny as well, especially the main human character's brother. He was a lot of comedic relief in it, and I really enjoyed it, especially in the beginning of the movie. Let's get into the bad. So yeah, the writing in this movie, specifically the dialogue, I think the script was okay. I think that it was easy to follow. It was mostly about the fighting, but the dialogue, the way they wrote it, whoever wrote the dialogue for this movie did a lazy job of writing it. It was full of cliche one-liners that you would see in a early 90s film, and it really bogs down the film. It makes it feel old school, but not in a good way. There's a character named Amon Tomaz in this movie, and he's a kid in the movie, and he is not good. I don't think that the actor was a bad actor, but what he was given and what he had to do was just annoying. I think that they were trying to go for like a Peter Parker, Kamala Khan, earnest character that looks up to heroes and humanizes Black Adam, and he kind of did that, but it just came off annoying, and there was some technical aspects that just didn't work well. There's a point where I guess they had to redub what he was saying, and when his lips were moving, it didn't match what was going on with the words, and I just thought that was a weird technical aspect that was a fault of the movie that's not throughout the rest of the movie. And he had just the cringiest lines and gave like some stereotypical speeches that were not great that you would see in like old school movies, like going back to the 90s writing. It was just not the effect that I think that they were going for. I think it just came off more annoying. And the antagonist in this movie, he's in the trailers. You see him for a little bit coming out of the water. Red Bat looking like Devil, also fighting Hawkman in the trailer as well. Sabbac, a classic Black Adam Shazam villain, was throwaway. He was a throwaway villain. He wasn't really interesting. He didn't have any very broad motivations that will make you remember him. He was mostly used just for great action scenes at the end and to be a punching bag to a fantastic action sequence towards the end of the movie. He didn't have much character. He was really just a throwaway character. And also, there was 4 members of the JSA, and I pointed out Dr. Fate and Hawkman being the highlights. And while I like Noah Centineo's performance as Atom Smasher and Quintessa Swindell's performance as Cyclone and how their powers looked and everything and their banter together and some of the information that we got that made me go, I want to see more of them in their own solo projects or on a JSA or Justice Society group project. I think for the most part, they were very underutilized in this movie and almost did nothing to help the plot or change the plot. There's like certain points in the movie where if you just took those 2 out, the movie would exactly be the same. And I think that when you have heroes like that you want other people to get interested in because you're going to do a spin-off project, you gotta give them something that's integral to the plot so that people will remember them and feel good about them, like, okay, these guys matter, they do stuff. And they didn't really do that really well. So hopefully they do come out of this in a positive light and do get spin-offs because their backstories seem interesting, but in this movie they almost were useless. Verdict. So I had an absolute blast watching Black Adam in the theater. It was so much fun. It reminded me of some of the early Fast and Furious movies, but in a superhero form, which makes sense since The Rock produces this and he pushed forward a lot of the creatives, and his biggest films are Fast and Furious, and he's been trying to recreate that feeling on his own for a long time. And like I said, it's a great movie to turn your brain off, enjoy the visuals, enjoy the action. That's what you're paying to see, and have a few laughs because the movie has some decent jokes throughout the movie. This movie could have been much more and had the potential to be much more with the themes that they had if the writers just really fleshed them out, gave it more time to breathe, and really wrote better dialogue for the characters to say. I think those are some of the drawbacks, and hopefully if we get a Black Adam 2, they say this in the works, but we'll see what happens with the box office of this movie. Hopefully they get newer writers. I hate to tell people to lose a job, but hopefully they get some people that can write better dialogue and just flesh out the story a little bit more so that it can feel more complete and uplift everything, the great characters that we're getting and the great action. But with that said, because I enjoyed the movie so much, I'm going to give it a C+. Like it? Did you hate it? What would you rate Black Adam? Tell me your favorite moments down below, and also tell me what you didn't like about the movie as well, and what you think about the future of Black Adam and that post-credit scene. I got hype. I stood up and I yelled. It was so hype. Like the video if you like my review. Subscribe to the channel to help the channel grow, and hit that notification bell so you can check out more of my reviews, reactions, and ranking lists. And you can check more of my content out right now.